What if your child was just one more class away from having that breakthrough? Hey, what is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Off the Mat. My name is Josh Dumoulin, and I am by myself this week because, as you know, if you remember from last week's episode, Nicole, she is gone in Finland right now. So she is at the ITF World Championships in Finland as the Canadian team manager and kind of an assistant coach there. So as of right now, while I'm recording this, it is Wednesday. If you know, Wednesdays we record, we release on Mondays. So it's Wednesday. I record regardless. She records regardless, whether or not we are both here or it's just one of us. We hit record so that way we can get a new episode out to you guys here. And before I get started, I really just want to say thank you to everybody who does listen. I really appreciate all of the comments, the replies, the reviews, and people who come to us in class. If you are a student of ours and you listen and you come to class and maybe you heard something on an episode that you just really enjoyed, and I really appreciate all of the support that all of you guys give. So thank you all so much. We greatly appreciate it. In particular, I have this one student, this young girl. She comes in, she listens every week. So you are a rock star. You know exactly who you are. And thank you guys so much for listening. Now, I was really thinking about when I walk around this place here, if you've been to our school, we've got about a 7,000 square foot space. It's quite the space. It's really big. And we had to do this renovation in 2 months. And we managed to actually pull it off. November, December, we were in here working every single day, hustling like crazy. I'd be in here during the day. Then I'd leave at night to go and help out with classes if they needed help. Then I'd come back at night, get kind of cleaned up so that way all the contractors could have some work done and everything. And the space would be ready to go so that way everybody could get back to work on getting us renoed and in time for us opening. And we ran into a lot of hiccups, but you know what? We all figured it out. We got it done. And by the end of December, we had the renos done, we had the mats laid, and by January 4th, we were opened up in our new space in 2 months. Most people, when they looked at the job, they actually did not think it would be done, but we got it done. It was a lot of hard work and a lot of hands went into it. And I'm just greatly appreciative of everybody who had a hand in it. And it just made me think of the first time my dad opened up his school. I was about 15 years old and I was living in Prince George, and I was working that summer at Greyhound. And if you're old enough to remember a Greyhound station, I don't think there's any open anymore. But if you're old enough to remember Greyhound, the bus depots, I worked at one of those loading and unloading the buses. So I kind of worked in the back. During the week, I'd work in the front doing stuff, and I was kind of all over. I helped out a lot there, and that was my summer job. But while I was working there, my dad was also renovating his first school, getting it ready to open up for September. So as soon as I was done my shift at Greyhound, I would walk down the street because it wasn't very far. It was a block or two away, and I would go and help out my dad renovate that space. We'd paint, we'd lay the flooring down, plumbing, just getting everything set up so that way he could open up. And because we were trying to open this place up, we really just, whatever we did was there. We ate there. Some nights we slept there, and we just spent as much time as we could there so that way we could get everything set up. And there was one particular day where my dad and I had been working all day long, and he had asked me to go and make us, I think it was lunch or dinner. I can't remember. I said, can you go make us some lunch? Why don't you make us a couple sandwiches? I said, hey, not a problem. I'll go do that. And if you know the relationship my dad and I have, we like to prank each other quite a bit here and there. And so I had decided to go and make lunch for the two of us. I had made some sandwiches. And these sandwiches here, it was meat, cheese, lettuce, mustard, mayo, whatever. I got the sandwiches made. I make mine. I make his. We had sliced cheese, the one in the wrapper. I had taken that one that was in the wrapper. I had taken the wrapper off. I put the cheese down on my sandwich. And I did not take off the wrapper on my dad's cheese. And I put his sandwich together. He takes his sandwich. He comes over, starving. He goes, "Oh, thank you so much. I'm so hungry." He grabs onto that sandwich and he bites into it. And he just takes a really meaty bite and he starts pulling. And he can't quite bite through and he couldn't quite figure it out. But he was so hungry and so determined that he just said, "I'm going to get this." And he starts pulling and pulling. And as he's doing it, he's stretching the plastic from the cheese, which I think that cheese is basically plastic anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But he's pulling, he's yanking it out, and I can see the teeth marks pulling it. He finally realizes what was done. He looks at me. He knew exactly what I had done because I was probably on the floor laughing enough at it. He threw the sandwich at me. He goes, "Damn it, Josh, what are you doing?" And it just made me think of just really the funny times that happened that when we were renovating that place. And it was a really good time. We had some good laughs. We remembered that, even when we were working hard, that we had to have some fun and we had to play some jokes with each other. And we just had a really good time that summer. So it was a lot of fun. But it really got me thinking about during that time while I was training, while we were renovating and when we opened up and I was training and thinking about my training as a child. And most people wouldn't assume this. They just think because I teach and I run a school that I just have always enjoyed training. But that couldn't be farther from the truth. There was definitely moments where I wanted to quit. There was moments where I wanted to just stop doing Taekwondo altogether. And fortunately enough, I had two parents who just kind of said, "No, too bad. You have classes, we're going to go." And so I just really didn't have a choice in the matter. I was just put into classes. They saw value out of me doing Taekwondo. And I look back on it now, I'm grateful for the fact that both of them, both my mom and my dad, both put me through classes. Even when my dad had his school, I still trained. I did the classes. I eventually helped teach classes. Now, I didn't enjoy teaching in particular at one point, and that's a different story, which I've actually done a whole episode on. But I definitely wanted to quit at times. And so I really wanted to talk about why I'm not going to let my kids quit Taekwondo. I have two boys, and 9 and 4, and neither of them are going to be quitting. They can't quit. They're not allowed to. They have to do this. There are reasons why they're not allowed to quit. And we get this all the time. One of the biggest things that we hear from a lot of parents is it's not worth the fight anymore. I don't want to push them. I don't want to make them go. And I'm going to tell you this, there is going to be a lot of things that our kids are not going to want to do. But as parents, if we see a value and a reason for our kids going to martial arts, then why would you let them quit? Like, I'm not going to let my kids quit. They have no choice. They're going to go. They're going to keep going. There's going to be times where they don't want to go. There's definitely been times where both of them have not wanted to go. And they go. But there's a few things that we do to make sure that we kind of avoid situations like that. We've talked about them. One, setting a routine, using language that, when it's time to go, using correct verbiage and language so that way we don't just spring it on them in a way that is exhausting. But when I see the potential of what my kids will get out of martial arts, there is no way I'm going to let them quit. I don't think of Taekwondo as a extracurricular activity. And that's the problem is a lot of parents, we look at martial arts in particular as just another activity they're going to do. But what if we approached it with the idea that Taekwondo and martial arts is actually a life lesson? It's a life skill that your kids are going to adopt. There are lessons in there that aren't going to just be about kicking and punching and about the things that they do on the mat, but they're going to be things that they carry from the mat to their real life. The discipline, the focus, the energy, the fitness. Like there's all these things that, benefit us from training martial arts. And so I don't think of it as a extracurricular activity. It is a life skill, and an important life skill, especially nowadays more than ever. There are things that our kids are dealing with online, offline, at school, And martial arts is going to be a way where they're going to be able to learn how to handle difficult situations. We often want to just pull back and say, well, my kid doesn't want to go anymore, so I'm just gonna, it's just not worth arguing with them. I'm just gonna let them have it. What what example are you now setting for the future thing that they just don't want to do anymore? Are you just going to now say, well, if you can quit that, you can just quit the next thing? Because the second they realize, like, trust me, our kids are smart enough. It's the second they realize, well, all I had to do was just say, I don't want to go anymore. I did that a couple times, and mom and dad just pulled me out. That was easy. Well, shoot, I didn't like doing push-ups, so I don't want to go anymore. They quit. Then they do another activity. Well, something got a little bit hard, because trust me, things are going to be hard. So I don't want to go anymore. It's difficult. Okay, well, I don't want to fight with you anymore, so let's just go. But it's not our job to be their friends. It's not our job to just say, well, I don't want to push them. Well, if we're not going to push them, who will? Because, like, there is going to be a lot of people in their life that are going to push them. Not in positive ways. There's going to be obstacles and hurdles that our kids are going to have to deal with, that my boys are going to have to deal with. I have to be the one who actually pushes them and encourages them to keep going. Like, if they quit at the first roadblock, the first thing that hits them, what hope do they have? Like, I'm setting the trajectory for the rest of their life by just, like, literally letting them quit that first time it got difficult. If I had let my older son quit the first time he told me, I don't want to go do another push-up, I don't want to go back to class, well, he wouldn't be doing Taekwondo. He would be upstairs doing nothing. He'd be watching TV. He would be trying to find the next activity that he enjoys. And we just bounce him around from activity to activity to activity. But what if I just kept going? I often think about this with parents too. Yeah, you might be struggling, and all kids handle it different. Some parents, yes, you are going to have to push your kids more than others. Some kids just love coming. Some kids are okay going. They embrace the discipline. They embrace the hard work, all the challenges, the instructors. They love it. But what if you were just one more fight away from them having the best class of their life, from them literally changing how they saw martial arts, how they saw their training? What if that next class that you decided, it's just not worth the fight anymore? What if that next class was the one where they finally broke that board, where they finally could land that kick that they've been working on, where they could finally do those 10 push-ups without struggling? What if it was that last class that they were finally able to push through? What if it was that last class where they were able to hear what the instructor was saying to them and it just clicked for them and it no longer became a fight anymore? What if you were just one class away from that? Like, we often hear that, like, we give up right when we're at 40%. 40% when we just think we just can't do it anymore and we quit. What if for you were just one more class away? What if there was one more fight away? I have to think about, like, what if I was one more class away from my kids learning something that could save their life? Help them build that confidence that could actually make them stand up to that bully, to make them speak in front of the class without wetting themselves or without having a panic attack. Because that's what we're going to do as instructors. We're going to put them in uncomfortable situations. So that way, when they're really forced into an uncomfortable situation, they're not going to run and hide. They're going to be used to embracing the adversity. They're going to be used to the challenge. They're actually going to be used to that. And that's what we try to do with martial arts. That's why I won't let my kids quit. I won't let them go from putting themselves into a difficult situation to just running away from difficult situations. I want my kids to be trained that when a difficult situation happens, and it doesn't just have to be, I don't mean it just because we're talking about martial arts. I don't just mean a bully or a bad guy or whatever you want to think about it is. I mean anything. Like, I remember when I was a kid, I was a horrible reader. I hated it. It brought anxiety to me, just the idea of standing up in front of the classroom and having to read the next piece of the paragraph there when you have the book and everybody takes turn reading a paragraph. I don't know, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. We all take turns reading a section. I used to get panic attacks just thinking that the teacher is going to call my name next. I would try to raise my hand and go to the bathroom so that way I could just hopefully avoid it. And then when I got back, they'd be like, hey, Josh, we missed you. You stand up, read your paragraph. We're on this one here. It would bring me anxiety just thinking about that. And if I hadn't been involved, if my parents hadn't kind of pushed me into martial arts, like speaking in front of people was something that like I just shared, deathly afraid of. Now I do it every single night. Now I do it at other schools. I've been able to even do it on stage in front of people I don't know, mic'd up with screens and lights. I get to come on here and do a podcast. I get to come on here and speak to you. What if I was just one more class? What if your child was just one more class away from having that breakthrough? What if they just had that one more fight where you just had to say, you know what? I can do it again. I can push them one more night. Again, you've got to push them. Like I said, some of you parents were probably all envious of you. Hey, I don't have to push my kids at all. They love coming. They love the instructors. They love the training. They love the push-ups. They love it. You talk to another one, man, I had to fight with my kid tonight. I don't know why. There's a lot of things going on we have to think about. And the reason why I'm kind of talking about this subject in particular is we're going back to school. School has started this week. As of right now, my son's had his second day. He's gone back to school 2 days now. Is he a little bit more tired than he usually is? Heck yeah, he is. He's gotten home. He's spent now 6 hours in the classroom. He has been, outside playing with his friends. He's gotten all the chit chat. He's caught up with his friends during the summer. Yeah, getting to class was tough tonight, but it was part of the routine. Got in, he trained, he did his class. Both boys. Okay, both boys came in, they did their class. That's just part of it. Okay, again, that's just part of the routine we've created. Now, was it harder to do? If I had let them just take tonight off, would they have? Definitely. They definitely would have. Hey, I've been at school all day. I've been learning. I've been reading. I would love nothing more than to just sit in the room, Dad, and just kind of watch a little bit of YouTube, watch a little bit of Netflix. And if I had let him, he would have done it. Would it have killed him? No, probably not. But that's part of the routine. He comes in. And so we're going to hear it a little bit more now. Right now, parents, you're going to be hearing this a little bit more from your kids. They're going to be tired. They're going to be exhausted. And they are definitely going to tell you, I don't want to go tonight. I'm tired. It's a long day. Of course they're tired. Chances are, whatever was happening over the summer, you are so far out of routine. That's the thing we hear the most from parents is, boy, I can't wait for school to get back. Not to be away from your kids, maybe, but mostly just to get back to routine. You want your kids back in that routine, that structure, that order. That's what martial arts brings. So to now put them into school where you're back into routine and then take out the martial arts where they're getting the most structure, they're getting the most discipline, they're getting the most focused work that they're going to get. Why would we stop that? Why? Because they're tired? Because they told you they don't want to go? Because they said, I'm too tired, I'm too exhausted, I don't want to go tonight? So now we're just going to let them? Like, why would you do that? Like, don't let those temporary feelings, we're the adults, we're the parents, take the lead. You're the leader of the house. Take charge. Especially if you know as a parent, like we hear this all the time. Oh, we love the training that they get. We love the discipline. We love the structure. We love the order. It's just not worth the fight. Well, if you see the discipline, the structure, the order, the focus that they get from it, but you don't want to just push through. You don't want to just go to that one more class. Think about that the next time you have a situation like that with your kid. Are you going to just let them have that argument? Maybe you have a couple. Maybe you have 3. Hell, maybe you have a dozen. I often think about this one boy we have. It was about a year and a half ago, and we had this exact conversation with the mom. Said it's not worth the fight. I don't want to bring him. It's just done. And most instructors would have just said, yeah, I totally understand. And my wife and I, we talked and we said, you know, it's not that we're going to push the mom. It's not that we're trying to keep them as a member or anything. It wasn't even actually anything about that. It was more so, when is it worth the fight? What if they were able to get something out of martial arts? Where would they be if we didn't push them to keep going? What if by staying in training, learning the skills, building the confidence, one day, whatever they learn here could save their life, could make them a better person, and we let them quit? I can't live with that. Like, I think of everybody who does quit. I'm sad. I'm sad to lose them. Not sad to lose them as a student. Or maybe some of you might be thinking, oh, you're sad to lose them because it's money, because that's your business. It's not even that. Like, for real, I can honestly say that. It's not that at all. I'm sad because I see the potential in people. We can see the potential in students. And when we see you quit, we see you giving up on the potential you have to be something great. And so it saddens us not to lose you, not to lose the revenue, not to lose the money. It's got nothing to do with that. We're sad just to see you go. We build a relationship and we see potential. And to see you quit when the things got hard, it scares me to see what else you're going to quit on. It scares me to see what else you might stop doing. It scares us to think that you might just go and quit on everything else. It scares us. And we think about that. That's how we go into it. So we had this conversation with the mom. It's not worth the fight. And we said, when will it be worth the fight? When they're 13. This kid's like 7 at the time. When they're 13. Think it's going to be easier then? Think it'll be worth it when they're 13 and you're having to drag them around because you didn't push them a little bit when they were younger? Needless to say, that kid didn't quit. He's a rock star. He recently just won Student of the Month. He's an amazing young man. And all because that parent went, you know what? One more class. I can push one more class. I see the potential. I see the focus. I see the discipline. I see the structure. I know what they're doing. I see the life skills. I see the role models they have. And I'm not just trying to put myself up on there. We have a lot of great instructors here that a lot of students look up to. A lot of them. Men and women. And you as a parent, you should also look at that instructor. Now, I understand you might be thinking like, I don't know if these are the people I want teaching my kid. That's fine. That's fine. You might be in a school where you don't have the respect for the instructors. That's fine. I understand that. You might need to find a different martial arts school. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. You should have respect for the people who are going to be teaching your kids. You should actually look at the person who is going to be teaching your kids and say, yes, they are going to be the one who's going to teach my kid about discipline. If you have an instructor who's overweight, can't do a push-up themselves, can hardly fit into their dobok, yeah, you should definitely consider, is this going to be the person who's going to teach my kid about discipline? I understand that. And maybe you do need to find somebody who is going to be able to actually teach your kid that discipline. Okay? They should be able to do the techniques. They should be able to do the techniques that they're teaching. They should be able to. They don't need to be. I'm not saying that every instructor is going to be the best at everything. but they should be able to like not get winded talking through a warm up. Like your kid's got to look up to these people. Okay, even parents, you got to think about it too. What example are you going to set for them? Maybe they get the quitting because they see what you do. Maybe they see you get a gym membership and a month later you stop going. Really think about where they're learning these lessons. Really think about the next activity they're going to quit. Really think about the snowball effect we're going to do if we just let them quit, because you don't want to go through the fight. But again, what if you just had one more fight to do? One more fight, just one more push. One more time. You could literally change the trajectory of their life just by one more class. The life skills that they're going to get from training. And that's why we institute life skills at our school. So that way you're going to actually, our goal is that what we teach on the floor, your kids take at home. They're going to take those lessons at home. They're going to use them at the grocery store. They're going to use them when they're at the mall. They're going to use those life skills of courtesy, respect, honor, integrity. They're going to use those things and actually apply them in their day-to-day life. They won't get that if they're not training. They won't get that if they quit. They won't have the role models that they need if they stop. So the next time your kid wants to quit, really consider the reason why. And if you're willing to do one more. Because if you're willing to do one more, I guarantee you're willing to do another one. And I guarantee you're willing to do one more. And I won't let my kids quit. Not while they're under my roof. They're not allowed. They will train. They will keep going. They will persevere. They will push through it. Will they always want to go? No. Will we take some time off? Yes. In fact, over the summer, we took time off. We took a break here and there. We went and traveled. Actually, even when we traveled, we still went and found a school to train at. Called up a friend of ours, went down, did a class. Not even the same style of Taekwondo or same art. We just went and trained because it was something to do, and we enjoy it. We get to do it as a family. So, next time your kid wants to quit, think about it. Are you willing to do one more? Are you willing to push one more? The life lessons, the discipline, all the structure that you know they're going to get in a martial arts school. Is that worth pushing through so that your kid can be the best version of themselves? Anyway, guys, I want to wrap this up here, but I really appreciate you guys listening to this episode of just me by myself. I greatly appreciate it. And if you are watching us on YouTube, I highly would recommend and appreciate if you guys subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple, or Google, please consider leaving us a review. We would love that, and we would be greatly appreciative of it. So if you don't mind doing that. If you felt like something in this episode is something that somebody in your life needs to hear, please consider sharing it with them so that way they can hear it and potentially stop their kids from quitting. Hear the message that needs to be said to them. I thank you guys all so much. My name is Josh Dumoulin, and you've been listening to Off the Mat.